When I met someone in St. Petersburg, some moments change your life forever, even though they begin like any other ordinary day. For me, that moment happened in St. Petersburg. I had traveled there alone, hoping to escape the noise of everyday life and find a little peace. The city welcomed me with its breathtaking architecture, quiet canals, charming streets, and a cool breeze that carried the scent of blooming flowers. Every corner of St. Petersburg looked like a painting, and every sunset seemed to tell a story. I spent my first few days exploring museum, walking along with the river banks and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. I loved being surrounded by history and beauty, but deep inside I still felt that something was missing. One beautiful afternoon, I decided to visit a small cafe hidden on a quiet street. It wasn't crowded, and soft piano music filled the room. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and warm pastries made the place feel cozy and welcoming. As I waited for my order, someone accidentally bumped into my shoulder. "Oh, I'm sorry," he said with a warm smile. I looked up and smiled back. "It's all right." He seemed relieved. "I thought I had ruined your afternoon." I laughed. "Not at all." There was something kind about him. His smile was genuine, and his eyes reflected honesty. "I am Rian," he said, offering his hand. "I am Emma." "It's nice to meet you, Emma." For some reason, hearing my name from a complete stranger felt surprisingly comforting. We ended up sitting at the same table because the cafe was almost full. What started as polite conversation slowly turned into something much deeper. We talked about books, travel, music, our childhood dreams, and the palaces we still hoped to visit someday. Hours passed without either of us noticing. It felt as though we had known each other for years. When we finally stepped outside, the evening sky was painted with shades of orange and pink. "Would you like to walk?" Rian asked. I had loved to. We wandered through the beautiful streets of St. Petersburg, admiring the old buildings and the peaceful canals that reflected the city lights. The conversation never stopped. There were moments of laughter, moments of silence, and moments when we simply enjoyed walking beside each other. Sometimes silence between two people can be more magnified than words. Over the next several days, we met again and again. Rian showed me palaces that tourists rarely visited, hidden gardens, cozy bookstores, quiet cafes, and beautiful bridges where the city looked magical after sunset. He wasn't trying to impress me. He was simply sharing the palaces that meant something to him. That made every moment feel genuine. One evening, while watching the sun disappear beyond the river, Rian asked, Do you believe everything happens for a reason? I smiled thoroughly. I never used to. And now I looked at him. I think meeting you has changed my answer. He smiled quietly. I was hoping you had said that. As the days passed, I began noticing the little things about him, the way he always listened without interrupting, the way he remembered a small details from our conversation, the way he smiled whenever I laughed. He made me feel seen, understood, and appreciated. One rainy afternoon, we found ourselves sitting inside the same cafe where we had first met. The rain stepped gently against the windows. Rian looked at me and asked softly, "What scares you the most?" I thought for a moment, losing someone who makes life feel beautiful. He nodded slowly. I understand that. What about you? I asked. He looked out at the rain before answering. My greatest fear is meeting the right person and not having the courage to tell her how I feel. Our eyes met. Neither of us spoke. The silence said everything. Finally, Rian reached across the table and gently held my hand. "Emma," he whispered, "meeting you has been the most unexpected and beautiful part of my life. We have made ordinary days unforgettable. You have shown me that happiness isn't found in palaces, it's found in people." His voice trembled silently. "I love you." Happy tears filled my eyes. I had been waiting to her. I had been waiting to hear those words without even realizing it. "I love you too," I whispered. From that day forward, our relationship grew stronger. We celebrated each other's dreams. We supported each other through difficult times. We learned that love isn't about perfection, it's about choosing the same person every single day. Eventually, my trip came to an end. Leaving St. Petersburg was the hardest thing I had ever done. At the airport, Ryan hugged me tightly. "This isn't goodbye," he said. "It's only the beginning." Distance wasn't easy. There were different time zones, long work days, and lonely evenings. But every morning began with a thoughtful message. Every night ended with a phone call. No matter how far apart we were, our hearts never felt distant. 2 years later, I returned to St. Petersburg. Rian was waiting for me in the same cafe where our story had begun. The owner smiled as we walked in. "It's feel like yesterday," she said. "Rian lead me to our favorite table. This palace changed my life," he said. "So did you." He reached into his pocket and took out a small velvet box. "Emma," he said, his eyes shining with emotion. "The day we met, I thought I had simply met a kind stranger, but now I know I met the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with." He knelt one on knee. "Will you marry me?" Tears rolled down my cheeks. There has only ever been one answer: yes. The entire cab burst into applause as Rian placed the ring on my finger. I realized that the greatest journeys are not measured by the palaces we visit. They are measured by the people who walk beside us. Whenever I think of St. Petersburg. Now I don't just remember its beautiful streets or historic buildings. I remember the afternoon when a simple apology became a conversation became a friendship, and a friendship became a love that would last forever. Sometimes the most beautiful love story begin in the most unexpected places. Mine began in St. Petersburg with a cup of coffee, a warm smile, and a stranger who became my